Hey now. This is Sandy, and we're going to go through my Service Essentials cards. So this is a set of 10 cards that I've got. Each card has all of its components inside an envelope for you. You've got your 10 card bases, so that's how the kit comes. You will need some kind of shaker element to add to your window if you decide to do that part, and some string, whatever kind of string, yarn, thread you've got. I used both Baker's Twine Essentials pack, which has 5 different colors in it, and then the linen thread, just to kind of play around with different ideas. You decide what you want to do. Okay, so I'm not going to go through each envelope because we're just going to talk about the cards themselves. But with this one, I just wanted to point out this right here is a plastic, it's part of a page protector for scrapbooking that I cut down to help create your window. So you're going to tape this really securely to this part here. And once that's on there, you're going to run foam tape around here and kind of in the corners. The corners are just to help keep the whole thing kind of lifted, but you want it to fully seal this entire opening so that nothing falls out when you add the shaker components to it. That's what keeps everything inside is the foam tape. So you're going to use whatever stamps you want, whatever makes you happy. I used the Service Essentials, which you're going to want for a few of the items, but you'll find that you really could use any kind of sentiment you want to complete these. So this one, after I made the shaker window, you've got a white piece of paper that you're going to stamp that on and cut it out. That's this piece right here. I added white dots around the heart. I did journaling around the edge. This piece, before I attached it, before I even ripped the bottom, I rubbed the top of it with the early espresso ink just to kind of accent some of those leaves in that um, really beautiful vine and stone embossing folder. And I added ribbon around there and glue dot behind it just to make sure it stayed in place. Dash, dash, dash with white gel pen if you want. All the extra fancies, I love to do the extra fancies. Okay, so this one, you've got a square piece of paper in here. This square right here, it doesn't matter how straight you are, you can use scissors or you can use your cutter if you want, but you need a diagonal right here. One is going to be the top corner, one's going to be the bottom corner. So that's what this is you just need a little bit of that in each corner, but make sure you cut it at a diagonal so you get the full spacing that you need. This red piece is full. You're just going to rip the edges to expose that paper that's going to be underneath. And I like having the white core exposed when I do my ripping. I did, again, rub that with the early espresso ink before I ripped it. If you rub early espresso after, it's just going to, you'll lose some of that white. It'll get covered up by ink. Here I stamped again that same piece right here, added my thank you, doodle lines. I did dots and dashes in the white gel pen. The white gel pen's brand new in May. So I'm very excited to add that to my repertoire. This star right here, if you don't have the stamp set, if you just use the star itself, that's fine. Again, whatever sentiments you want to use, wrapped the ribbon, used glue dot to hold it in place. This one here, when you're stamping these guys, just make sure you're really up close and personal with it so that you've got those little teeny tiny dots inside that create the chain for the dog tags. This is kind of interesting. I used scissors to scissor distress the edge of the star. Then I took the ribbon string and wrapped it around in different directions on that star. Just dimension, element, you decide if that's something you want to do. I'm using the upside down part. So normally we would use it where the vine and stone were popped up. Here I flipped it over and we're using the reverse image of the embossing. So when I inked that, it darkened the negative space, which I think is kind of cool. I used, again, the gel pen to do the dash marks, ripped that piece of paper, easy peasy. Here, blue X's using this stamp right here. Instead of a plus, I turned it and made it an X. stamped my different things there, dovetailed the three pieces, whatever doodling, dash, dots, what have you that you want to do to add to that. These stars are, it's this stamp right here. 3 stars in a row. I just stamped the 3 stars and then colored it in with a white gel pen. That's why it's white. All right. This one here, again, rubbing it with the ink. This I wrapped the string around my fingers a couple of times and put a glue dot where it all met and just tucked that behind there. So it just creates this little cluster of string. These 2 stamps here. Again, that 3 stamp or 3 line thing. I love that. This, I just added a little journaling line around that blue piece of paper. Different ways you can add a little extra element to your artwork without really much extra in the way of paper or embellishments. It's all just doodling with a pen. All right, so this piece here got ripped. You'll notice these pieces are much longer in your kit than they need to be. These ones here, they're like 7 inches, 6 inches long, so that you've got plenty of room when you're doing this. Make sure that all 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 corners are off the edges of the paper when you cut them down. You also have 2 different blue ones. I put the shorter one on the top and the longer one on the bottom when I spaced mine out. Whatever makes you happy, it really doesn't matter. Again, there's that star stamp, whatever sentiment you want to use. I used a white gel pen around the edge, did dash marks around that embellishment there. Rubbed ink over top of that, add the string. Here again, ink over top of the embossed piece, white gel pen. So when you're creating this one, you've got a couple of different pieces here. Let me find the right envelope. This guy right here. So you've got this piece and this piece that are going to go on the top and the bottom of the card. Then this one is going to just come along at the diagonal in between those two. Make sure I keep them all in order. Again, now instead of using the stars, this time I used the bursts above and below the sentiment. And this is the stamp, the heart stamp that I just stamped right on there. This one, I did the reverse, so I flipped it upside down instead of having everything pop up. It popped down, and I sanded it with a sanding block. Added my 3 different stamped sentiments to here, doodles around the edge, ripped these 2 pieces, or the 2 sides of this piece here. Added it to the blue. We've got little dots in the heart if you want to. And again, this is where I wrap the string around my fingers. This one here is embossed pop up, and then I just sanded it. Again, a little ripping. Again, a little bit of edge distressing with the scissors. You just take your scissors and rub it around the edge, and it kind of crinkles and frays the edge. Doodling if you want, dots, dashes, layers, if you want to. And then this last one, sanded, dash marks down the edge of that one, dovetailed both of these. The string, the hearts, I did little dots in around the edges of the hearts, your sentiment. And that is the 10-page Service Essentials card workshop. I have 3 of these kits left. Let me know if you want your name on one.